Hey there, everybody. I'm Coda, and welcome to whatever the hell this is. Yeah, so recently, my friend the RPG Internationale made one of these videos, a disturbing movie tier list, and he is a much stronger man than I am and can watch shit like Ishi the Killer, The Last House on the Left, Midsummer. I, on the other hand, am a tiny baby man, so I decided to do the same thing that he was doing, but with comedies. Alright, so fair warning, everything that's going to be in this video is all my opinion. Please tell me how wrong I am in the comments. If you grew up with these movies and I'm completely butchering them, my apologies, this is just my experience of them. Yeah, oh, also, content warning for fuck shit, because fuck shit is going to be happening this entire time. So, oh yeah, I'm also going to be spoiling like most of these. So, enjoy, let's have a good time. Okay, we're starting out right here with the 40-year-old virgin. I am putting it in the not good or disturbing category. This is probably the best of the, God, I can't remember his name, Judd Apatow films, but I just personally don't like it. The only disturbing parts in it is Steve Carell with a mountain of vagina-related merchandise, and some people might be put off by it. But most people think that this is a very, very good, sweet comedy with sweet things in it. It's just not my thing. Next up, we have a fishtail. Oh boy, a fishtail is disturbing and not good. It is a rip-off slash remake of Finding Nemo, Shark Tale kind of thing. It's about a bunch of kids who get turned into fish by a scientist's experiment, and then the antidote that turns them back into people gets dropped in the water, and the fish become anthrofish people. And there's a lot of body horror and grotesque transformations in this children's movie, so yeah. But other than that, it's full of musicals, so I have to put it in the disturbing but not good. A funny thing happened to the way that the forum is not disturbing and it's good. The main issue there is that it's a bit misogynistic for this time, but I still think that it's a hilarious movie, really consistently good. Zero Mostel, the main actor in it, is like a older version of John Belushi. The reason why you haven't seen him or maybe heard of him is because he was communist and openly communist, and because of that, he got blacklisted from the industry because movie people suck. Yeah. Okay. A next one for not disturbing but good is Adaptation, which is a Charlie Kaufman film, and it is possibly the best Nicolas Cage movie ever created. If you want to see the fact that Nicolas Cage is a real actor man, this is the movie to watch. I don't want to spoil too much about it because it's one of my favorite movies from a narrative perspective. I really recommend you go into it blind. Just expect to see Nicolas Cage acting, multiple Nicolas Cages acting, and you've got it. Okay, now we have the first Addams Family, which is not disturbing but good. Yeah. The original Addams Family TV show is a fucking atrocity, and they managed to make this a really, really good remake of the same concept. Also, Morticia and Gomez are like my IRL parents to a T, so I'm biased toward it. Addams Family Values goes right next to it. It's basically exactly the same as the first film. Addams Family Animated, I have not seen. Alvin and the Chipmunks, disturbing but not good. Anything with that much fart, poop, and auto-tuned voice humor is enough to squick me out for the day, but I am not ever going to watch it again. I don't remember what possessed me to watch it in the first place. Anchorman, controversial take, it's not good or disturbing. It's Will Ferrell being Will Ferrell, and he's putting in more effort than most of his movies, but it's not good. Anomalisa is another Charlie Kaufman film. It is very disturbing and very good. It's about a man who has, I'm just going to spoil it straight out, the Frigoli delusion, which is a mental disorder where you think that everyone has the same face and voice as each other, and you get to see how his life completely unravels in a comedic fashion. It also has the longest and worst sex scene I've ever seen in a film. No joke, you get to see puppets fucking for like 15 minutes straight. It is horrific, but really good. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not disturbing but good. It's a pretty classic comedy. It's Paul Rudd. Normally in every movie he plays Paul Rudd. This is probably the most distinct I've ever seen him perform. It's also the only superhero movie, I think, that we will be covering on this list. Ant, Wasp, and the Man is not good or disturbing. It's complete shit. Avoid it. Austin Powers. Yeah. The existential horror of this one is enough to make me put it in disturbing and good. I'm a big fan of the 60s and everything it represented, so the idea of somebody getting taken from that whole era and brought into the horrible yuppie, like, work till you drop or you're gonna fucking die mentality is bad. It's nice to see him kind of break out of that. The Spy Who Shagged Me is not good or disturbing. It was very boring. And Goldmember is disturbing and not good because you get to see Fat Bastard, which is Michael Myers in a huge amount of fat makeup, naked, rolling around in sumo wrestling, and there's diarrhea jokes, and I don't want to see those things. Also, Beyonce is an actress in it, and that alone is disturbing. Batman and Robin is disturbing but not good. I have tried to watch this movie on multiple occasions, and I've never been able to get all the way through it. I'm still putting it on here as opposed to haven't seen, because it has some of the worst performances I've seen from any of the actors involved. Yeah, if you want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger making ice puns every 5 seconds, and that sounds like a good time, don't watch it, because it's actually nowhere near as good of a time as people may lead you to believe. Yes, there are nipples on the Batsuit. It's not worth watching for that alone either. It's also the gayest Batman thing I've ever seen, and it's not worth watching for that either. Batman Forever, in turn, is not disturbing but good. This is actually my favorite Batman movie. I don't understand how there's such an incredible difference between Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Batman Forever took the Batman formula and made something lighthearted and fun out of it, whereas Batman and Robin took that, completely fucked it up the ass, and lost its shit in the process. And that's why everything afterward has been super gritty and dark when it comes to Batman and the DCEU, or whatever you want to call it. Everyone was so fucking freaked out by Batman and Robin, they never wanted to see anything lighthearted again, and now we have to suffer for it. Beetlejuice, I'm putting in disturbing but good. Beetlejuice is the story of Beetles, the juice, but the thing that freaked me out about it is, the people... Alec Baldwin is actually the star of this movie. He's not fat, but at one point, he and his wife try and make themselves scarier so that they can freak out the new tenants of their house, and they pull their faces open in this grotesque claymation fashion, and it gave me nightmares for years. So I have to put that in the disturbing and good category. Another for the disturbing and good category is another Charlie Kaufman film, Being John Malkovich. If you want to see a couple's home life break down and a lot of horrors of reality and many people possessing John Malkovich and becoming John Malkovich and just the complete absurdity of life and the systems that we put ourselves in, especially from institutions, watch this movie. This is an extremely good movie. It gives me existential dread, but it's good. Not disturbing but good. I'm putting Beverly Hills Cop. What the hell? Yeah, but in disturbing but not good next to it, I'm putting Beverly Hills Chihuahua. Beverly Hills Chihuahua is probably a superior... I can't decide whether or not Beverly Hills Cop or Beverly Hills Chihuahua is a better movie, and that's a sentence I never thought I would say in my life. I just remember that Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2 is so bad that I didn't put it on this list because there is a, long, stereotypical, kind of racist Mexican dance number with chihuahuas in it. But Beverly Hills Chihuahua was... ugh. It's the worst talking dog movie, but it was still as entertaining as Beverly Hills Cop, so fuck it. Okay. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is probably the best take on time travel I have ever seen. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is equally good. It is the same kind of thing, but put in some religious shenanigans, and they become friends with Death, and Death becomes their bass guitarist, and that's the greatest thing I've ever heard of. I believe that these are Keanu Reeves' best movies. Alex Winter, the reason why we haven't seen Alex Winter since is because he left to help make MTV what we know it as today, so he's also a badass. Bill and Ted Face the Music, I haven't seen. You have no idea how much I'm looking forward to this movie. I have been looking forward to this movie for years. I hope to God, number one, that it's good, and number two, they don't make John Wick references to capitalize off it. Legally Blonde. Not disturbing, but good. It is fine. As opposed to Legally Blonde 2, which is not disturbing, which is disturbing and not good. The entire thing devolves into just really, really shittiness. to be honest. Like Elle, what the hell is her name? I believe it's Elle. She goes and decides to become a politician after graduating from her law school. And her politician friend is evil because all politicians are evil, of course. I mean, that's true. All politicians are evil, but this one's just cartoonishly evil, and they solve a major legal case by the fact that her Chihuahua is gay. I can't deal. It's just not worth it. I can't fucking deal. I haven't seen Borat. I heard Borat is good. Boss Baby goes in the Shadow Realm category for making everything on this planet just a little bit worse. The Brave Little Toaster goes in the disturbing but not good category because it involves suicide and other horrible things that you should not be showing to kids, and like the despair and death and futility of life, and body horror, and little cute creatures getting mangled, and creepy ass clowns that are just as bad as fucking Pennywise. I don't want to see this shit. Why did they give this to kids? Disturbing but not good also goes with Brother Bear for forced transformation and trying to make people understand how colonialism is bad. The issue is, the only way they can think of doing it is by making the character a cute, cuddly little animal, because you can't relate to being part of a culture if you're not physically and literally part of that culture. You can't possibly have that kind of understanding. Fuck this movie. What is this? Japanese Bruce Almighty goes in the not good or disturbing category. I only remember vague parts of this movie. Morgan Freeman is a very good God voice, yes. Bruno goes in the haven't seen either, but Sacha Baron Cohen is making a good job of making people afraid of gay people. And yeah, everyone should be scared of gay people. We're fucking horrific. Let's do this. The Cabin in the Woods gets the disturbing and good category because it is disturbing and good. It's about a bunch of people who go to a cabin in the woods, but everything is secretly being controlled by DMs. Go watch the RPG Internationale. Also, go support your local RPG people, communities, etc. Yeah. But it's like a good retelling and sort of psychological horror take on all the different cabin monster stories you've seen before, Evil Dead, shit like that. It's the best one I've ever seen. Go watch it. Disturbing but not good would definitely be Casper. Casper also gave me nightmares when I was a tiny baby man. Smaller than I currently am, but it has some scary ass ghost shit. The main character is preachy and annoying and just terrible, and the plot is horrific. This apparently was like a major box office success when it came out. I don't understand why. I mean, I would say we've moved past that societally, but then Boss Baby is there too. While I'm at it, let's put Casper in the Shadow Realm. The Cat in the Hat. Disturbing, but not good. This is the single worst movie I have ever watched in the theaters. There's a lot of surprising body horror and freaky shit that happens in this movie. Michael Myers in the cat suit. I remember reading in a magazine article that the thing was made out of like 200 pounds of yak hair that they had to compress into this special fursuit for him to wear. I just wonder how like hot and stinky it must have been in that thing. He's just like dancing all over the place, scaring the shit out of kids, scaring the shit out of me. It's just a bad time for everybody around. Disturbing but not good also fits Chicken Little pretty well. Chicken Little also has themes of body horror, mental reconditioning. It's Clockwork Orange for babies, but it also has like a happy little alien that gets rescued by its happy little alien family, and the father screams a lot. It's not worth watching. Fuck it. Not good or disturbing, Crazy Stupid Love. This goes with the 40-year-old virgin in bad Steve Carell comedy time. I don't understand why Ryan Gosling was in this movie. This movie is all about a whole bunch of different family interconnectedness, and you're supposed to be going, oh my god, those families were interconnected the whole time? But it's super easy to see coming. If they really wanted to scare people or make it weird or creepy, they should have just made all the incest. All the incest. Actually, they just shouldn't have made this movie. Deadpool. Disturbing but good. Why am I putting this in disturbing but good? Because it has a lot of torture in it. There's a long, drawn-out, extended torture scene. And if you've been watching other movies and you can handle gore and torture, this probably is nothing to you. But for me, I can't handle, like, Tarantino or Reservoir Dogs or whatever. So that got to me. That's the kind of shit we're dealing with here. Deadpool 2 is not disturbing but good. I think the idea of someone who can control probability as a superhero, Domino, is the coolest shit ever. I want to see more of it. Despicable Me was not disturbing but good. I kind of hate what it represents because Illumination Entertainment has just made complete mindless shit ever since, but Despicable Me was the one time they actually cared about making a good story. And hey, the idea of redeemable villain is something that we honestly need more of nowadays. Not disturbing but good, we get The Dictator, unless you're talking about the unrated version of The Dictator, which is where Sacha Baron Cohen goes and finds this big woman's tits and starts flopping them all around and smacking them together and knocking people out with them. And you might be disturbed by that. I remember my parents were disturbed by that when we watched it. Dr. Strangelove goes into the disturbing but good category for its horrifying existential dread. You can basically tell it all from the title, How to Stop Worrying, Love the Bomb. There is so much shit going on in there. You just need to watch this movie, to be honest. But it's Stanley Kubrick. Drillbit Taylor goes in the not good or disturbing category. It is about Owen Wilson going and becoming the bodyguard for a bunch of small children, and he is a creepy-ass homeless guy who is dishonorably discharged, and I don't understand why children are allowed within anywhere near this man. But at the end, he, like, cuts somebody's arm off. Wait, no. He cuts somebody's pinky off with a katana, and it's kind of a badass. The reason why I watched this was because when I was younger, I was obsessed with Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller, which is a theme that we'll be coming back to later on. Elf, not disturbing but good, unless you're talking about the man-childness. I think it's Will Ferrell's best movie. Will Ferrell plays a man-child in every single movie I have ever fucking seen him in, but in Elf it actually works because he was raised by elves and doesn't understand how human society works. The Emoji Movie goes in the The Emoji Movie goes in the Shadow Realm. Eraserhead, however, is disturbing but good. I am a huge fan of David Lynch. Eraserhead is actually my least favorite David Lynch movie, but it's about a guy who really doesn't want to be a father, and then his entire life starts unraveling around him at the same time as he is caught in a post-nuclear wasteland world where nothing can live or grow. And yeah, his baby is the most horrifying thing ever. It's like a sack of organs that just melt sometimes, and it screams all day, and he hates it. Yeah, you should watch this movie. Flubber goes into the disturbing but not good category. This is another thing that gave me nightmares when I was younger. It's about a scientist who becomes friends with this amoeba. The amoeba dances around, and the amoeba also, like, forces itself down the throat of the villain and, like, parrots his body around, and it's just grotesque seeing how it moves and undulates and spasms. Yeah, so I don't like force feeding, and force feeding is a surprisingly common theme in this movie, so it's something that we're getting the fuck away from here. Not good or disturbing. Not disturbing but good, maybe? The Forrest Gump movie. Man. Man. Disturbing but good. Why am I putting Forrest Gump in the disturbing but good category? The answer is because a bunch of horrible shit happens to Forrest Gump and he doesn't even really notice because he's such a sweet, sweet man. It's worth watching. It's a beautiful film. Fred Claus, disturbing but not good. You remember how I was talking about Elf? This thing is like the antithesis of Elf. We also see a man-child, but this man-child is the worst, horrible, worthless person ever. He's Santa Claus's brother, and that means that he has the mental regression of a 3-year-old. He is just fucking pathetic, as common of Vince Vaughn and Will Ferrell movies. Fred the Movie. Not disturbing, but good. Why do I like Fred the Movie? The answer is Fred's dad is John Cena. It is never explained, and I honestly found that this movie inoffensive and fine. Like, compared to most YouTuber movies, which are like the most atrocious fucking vapid things ever, Fred the Movie felt like the Fred cartoon, you know what I mean, YouTube cartoon man person. It had one scene which was particularly irritating where he fought a puppet of a fucking squirrel, but everything else I would say is fairly innocuous and fine. It's worth the watch. If you want to come back and remember what 2002 YouTube was like, you should definitely watch this film. Freddy Got Fingered is the disturbing but good movie. Horrible shit happens in this movie. I don't even know if I can call this a comedy. Just remember, if you want to see a man, like, in the opening sequence just run off a bus and start jerking off a horse, this is the movie for you. And it does not slow down from there. I don't know how this movie got a theatrical release. It's just a man who both has money sometimes and does not have money sometimes, doing the most absurd shit you can possibly imagine, and it's horrifying. Oh, also, severe content warning for child mutilation in this movie. And I guess, no, yeah, let's just say mutilation. Free Guy goes into the not disturbing but good category. Ryan Reynolds is a surprisingly good actor, and it's just good. I'm not going to spoil too much about this one because it is in theaters right now. It has some Marvel references at the end, but overall, it's a really good story. And it has Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. I can't remember his name. What the fuck is his name? He's a good boy. Funky Forest goes in the what the fuck is this category. I'm going to briefly show you some pictures of Funky Forest. Wait, no, that's Funky Forest movie poster. Funky Forest is an anthology of Japanese fuck shit. I found out about it because Redline is one of my favorite movies, and the guy who made Redline did some stuff in here. But as you can see, there is Penis Monster, there is Mandrake Penis Monster, there is Other Penis Monster, there is Nipple Monster. Yeah. And just random fat white kid for some reason. Oh shit, this is the wrong tab. Okay. I would recommend this movie. I don't know what it is, but it stuck with me. Get Smart. Not disturbing, but good. Fantastic comedy. Probably the best spy comedy I've ever seen. This one is probably also the best Steve Carell, not Will Ferrell. Steve Carell comedy I've ever seen. There are a lot of different spy comedies where you have like the bumbling incompetent spy who's paired with a more competent spy, which is kind of like Men in Black now that I think of it. But Get Smart executes it very well. If you want to see Steve Carell and Dwayne Johnson make out, this is the movie for you. This may have contributed to my sexual awakening a little bit. Ghostbusters 1 goes in not disturbing but good. I think everyone knows what Ghostbusters is. Wait, shit, that's Ghostbusters 2 I just linked. Whatever, both Ghostbusters 1 and 2 are really good. I'm putting in the not disturbing even though they have some disturbing ghost scenes in them. They had a ghost grandma that flies at you and screams like a really old-timey jump scare, and that was... I think that you can handle it. Ghostbusters 2 is the same except with more modern art appreciation and also the pink goo. And if you want to see what's inside the Statue of Liberty, it is either human bones or more of the pink goo. You'll find out. Ghostbusters 3 is disturbing but not good. I despise Melissa McCarthy. I actually hate everyone in this film, and I'm a big fan of Kate McKinnon. This is as if people, like, they didn't even understand or know what Ghostbusters was. They just decided to make a movie of them all doing improv. It's one of the worst comedies I've ever seen. The disturbing elements is mainly just how bad everyone's acting is, how bad the storytelling is, how little anything makes sense, and how much CGI there is, like blinding you every 5 seconds when you try and think about the plot. Do not watch Ghostbusters 3. I haven't seen Gremlins. Groundhog Day goes in disturbing but good. Mainly because, yeah, this is a very fun, family-friendly comedy, but you get to see Bill Murray commit suicide multiple times. Hairspray goes in the disturbing but not good category because you get to see John Travolta in drag dancing around for long periods of time. It's also a musical comedy, and I fucking despise musical comedies. The only good thing about this movie is that the writer and director comes up in the beginning and has a cameo as a flasher. And if I ever become a famous writer-author person, I would love to do that. That is just the best thing. Okay, Hancock. Hancock goes in the not disturbing but good category. This is Will Smith being a particularly terrible superhero. You know what? God, I don't know what to say. I'm gonna have to put it in not good or disturbing because I love the first half of this movie. The first half of this movie is hilarious. It's just Will Smith bumbling around, gradually becoming a better person as he fucks with his superpowers. And then the second half is just the stupidest, most forced, ridiculous thing ever. And I don't even really want to spoil it, to be honest. I would recommend that you watch this movie and then shut it off at the halfway point, because it's not going to get any better from there. I haven't seen The Hangover. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is not disturbing but good. It is one of the best comedies I've ever seen, one of the best sci-fi films I've ever seen. It is about what happens when your entire view of reality is completely stripped away, how you can keep yourself together and be a good person despite that. It's also one of the most intelligent and fun movies I've ever seen. I'd highly recommend checking it out. Alright, so now we have a whole bunch of Home Alones. Home Alone number 1 goes into not disturbing but good. I think it's really fun. It's about a kid who gets home alone. I think everyone knows what Home Alone is. Home Alone 2... not good or disturbing. It's exactly the same movie as the first one. He just goes to New York and learns to not be scared of a scary looking old person. This time it's a old woman who's a binner. Come on. Oh man. Home Alone 3, however, is fucking great. I would actually put it above Home Alone 1 as a good movie, mainly because it has very little to do with Home Alone as a franchise. It's about this kid who somehow gets like billion-dollar weapons technology, and a bunch of criminals try and steal it from him, and he fucks their shit up. I don't know why this got bad reviews. This is a great movie. It's better than the other Home Alones. Home Alone 4 goes into the disturbing but not good category because it's like watching The Uncanny Valley. What they did is they recast all the different actors and had them play the same roles, and they had the same plot, and it's terrible. Oh man, they tried to pretend that this brown-haired kid is Macaulay Culkin, and he's not. And then the story is that the kid's parents get divorced, so he goes with his dad to meet his dad's new wife, who lives in this super expensive mansion, and she's a like rich bitch stereotype. And so the whole movie is about the kid trying to get his father to divorce this woman and get back together with his mother. And that's the like happy end of the movie. It's terrible. It's really bad. They also say that they want to have all these cool gadgets and gizmos, like a door that opens when you like say door open, but they don't do any fun stuff with it. It's fucking pathetic. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not disturbing but good is Horrible Bosses. You know what? I'm putting it in the disturbing but good for the reason of Kevin Spacey. I don't like this man. And also, if you want to see people sexually harass Charlie Day for an uncomfortable amount of time, watch this movie. If you want to see Charlie Day fight back against his sexual harassers, watch this movie. It's good. I'd recommend it. Hot Fuzz. Disturbing but good. I'm putting it in disturbing but good because it has 2 particularly gory scenes in it. It is actually like the small country version of The Hills Have Eyes as a comedy. You got 2 cops who are kind of bumbling. They go into a small town. The small town is doing some murder, and they do some murder back, and it's great. Spoiler warning for the most disturbing thing, which is they fight in a model village, and their fight scene is awesome, but then the spire of one of the model village's like buildings goes through the main villain's neck, and it's grotesque. It's horrible. I don't like it, but I love this movie. Hotel Transylvania, haven't seen. It has like 5 million sequels. Why does everyone want to fuck the Invisible Man? How to succeed at business goes in the what the fuck is this category. It is an old comedy movie that people really like, and it's just very stereotypical. Business without really trying, according to this movie. Go to work really late in the evening, sleep there, wake up early, pretend that you did an all-nighter when you didn't. Tell your boss that you like the same football team as he does, and you will suddenly become the top of the corporate ladder. However, in reality, we know that nepotism makes this kind of thing completely impossible, so don't even fucking bother, and don't bother with this movie either. Hudson Hawk. So, Bruce Willis can actually do really good comedies. I'm putting it in the not disturbing but good category. It's really hilarious. It's like breakneck pace action. It's kind of like a heist movie. Imagine Ant-Man, but just infinitely better in every way, and then just so much insane shit happens over it. It also has Richard E. Grant as the mustache-twirling villain who gets pegged by his wife. It's like explicitly clear that he gets pegged by his wife. It's top tier. Watch it now. What the hell is this? I downloaded a Ghost. I haven't seen it, but I put it on this list so I would remember to see it because this is Elliot Page's movie. Yeah, I'm not going to search that up right now. I'll do it later. But yeah, I want to see Elliot Page download a ghost. So, not good or disturbing, we have Igor, which is about the hunchback of Notre Dame, or the hunchback that you always see do the pull the lever, becoming a good person. I watched this one in theaters with my friends. It's just very, very lame and by the book. For some reason, Tyler, the creator, has decided to make a remake of it on Netflix. I don't understand. So Igor 2, the remake, is also going on the not good or disturbing category. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus goes in the disturbing but good category. This is a Terry Gilliam movie, and it's about people who can go through a portal to a world created from all of their desires. It has the worst CGI in the world, but the concepts are really solid. Mini-Me is one of the main characters. Heath Ledger is the standout. This is before he died. I think immediately before he died, he gives a fantastic performance in this. Because he died right after this, they had some scenes in here that weren't finished filming, so they brought in Jude Law and Johnny Depp and some other guy to refilm his scenes, and their scenes are great too. I don't really want to spoil too much more about it. It's kind of a slow burn, but it is a good movie through and through. I would highly recommend you check it out. There's disturbing shit in it and better shit in it. Oh man. Jack and Jill goes into the disturbing but not good category for obvious reasons. Aside from the fact that this movie is just a horrible fucking product placement and the worst money laundering scheme that Adam Sandler has made to date, I just don't want to see this motherfucker in drag for more than 2 minutes. James and the Giant Peach. Disturbing, but not good. I don't like Tim Burton. I like some stuff from Tim Burton. I like Beetlejuice a lot, but James and the Giant Peach just fucked me up. There's a lot of disturbing stuff that goes in here, like they have the scary-ass adoptive parents. I don't remember, the two witchy women, and they follow the kid on his adventures in the most horrifying fashion, going through the air, underwater. You just can't escape from these horrible people. And at the same time, the rhinoceros-trained specter that killed this poor little kid's parent just keeps coming back to him over and over when he's trying to relax. And you get to see it in excruciating detail with all the horrible screaming and squealing. That's the kind of thing that gives you nightmares when you're adults. At least if you're me. I just don't like that shit. So, disturbing but not good, not really worth watching. It's not whimsical enough for a watch. Johnny English. Not good or disturbing. This is basically Get Smart, but starring Mr. Bean. If you like Mr. Bean, you will like this movie. I do not like Mr. Bean. The best Mr. Bean thing I have seen was when he tried to, like, wear an entire chicken as a head. I have not seen the Lego Movie. I have heard that this directly contributed to Chris Pratt becoming the main character of every movie ever, so fuck that. Lilo and Stitch? Disturbing but good. Why am I putting this in the disturbing category? It occasionally drops off some like big fucking quandaries that you don't want to deal with, like the fact that their house is in danger of getting repossessed and Nami is doing whatever she can to take care of her little sister, completely abandoning her own life in the process, or the fact that Pleakley's species almost conquered the world and killed everyone on it, but they were only convinced not to because mosquitoes were the dominant species. And yeah, that's fun. And yeah, like Stitch is actually a bioweapon and all of the others are bioweapons made for extreme murder. But other than that, it's a fucking hilarious family comedy. It's really sweet, really heartfelt. I loved this movie growing up. It's one of my favorites. Highly recommend. Also, it had a wonderful ad campaign where Stitch was just going around blowing the fuck out of the Disney universe. And this was way before Kingdom Hearts. If you want to see this man come in on a spaceship and steal your girl from Aladdin, this is the movie to watch. Check it out. Little Shop of Horrors. Disturbing but good. What is disturbing about Little Shop of Horrors? It is probably the titular Audrey 2, the plant which eats people in grotesque fashion while singing. I actually don't know the genre. I'm going to say it's soul R&B music. It's very funny, very lighthearted. You get an awesome scene where Bill Murray, playing a masochist, scares the shit out of a dentist sadist. I would recommend it for that scene alone, but I'd say it's a little bit disturbing. You don't want to show this to your preteens. You got to show this to your teens. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, we're getting the first art house shit we got here. Jan Slagmajor, I don't know how to pronounce his name, is a wonderful Czech man who may be alive or dead, and he makes fantastically disturbing stop motion films that are just fantastic. They're just so good. And this particular one is called Lunacy, and it's about the inmates taking over the insane asylum, and you get to see tons of weird things happening. I would recommend Spank Major's entire body of work. He also has another movie, and I can't remember the name of it, but it has a long, drawn-out scene where a woman inhales tiny balls of bread, and he has another scene where, like, fucking China dolls give birth to each other. So yeah, you should definitely watch this movie with your mom. Okay, The Invention of Lying is not good or disturbing. I really enjoyed the first half of this movie, and then it became formulaic. This premise is great. Ricky Gervais goes and suddenly finds himself isekai'd into a world where nobody knows what lies are. So of course he uses this to get laid, and then finally decides to become a better person by the end. I would give this like an okay out of 10. So I'm putting it in the not good or disturbing category. Machete is disturbing and good. The best thing about Machete, which is kind of like a revenge fantasy movie, is that it takes place in the Spy Kids universe. You know the Uncle Machete from Spy Kids? He is the Machete in these movies. They're very gory, they're very fun, I would highly recommend them. Machete Kills goes right next to Machete on that list. Mars Attacks goes into the disturbing but not good category. I don't like Mars Attacks. I fucking hated the horrific gore in Mars Attacks. Mars Attacks is a parody of like fucking 1940s, 1950s pulp sci-fi, and a lot of people are really into that. I'm kind of really into that, but I don't like seeing extreme gore and body experimentation and people's heads getting put onto small dogs and dogs' heads putting onto small people and Jack Black melting in excruciating detail and seducing aliens with extremely huge heads, and I just don't like it. I'm putting it in the not good category because it fucked me up when I was younger. I don't like this shit. Meet Dave. Meet Dave is maybe the best small person movie I've seen. I'm putting it in disturbing but good because the concept of a person filled with smaller people is something you kind of got to wrap your head around, especially when those smaller people try and seduce women. I enjoyed this movie. I still love the fact that they made a giant replica of Eddie Murphy's head, and that head just traveled around the country. That's badass. Watch it for that alone. Okay, it's time for Men in Black. The first Men in Black goes in the disturbing but good category. Why is it disturbing but good? The alien designs in that one are scary as fuck, especially the bug. And kind of like the small alien where you open up the face and you find this tiny little alien that's dying in it. I don't like that, but it's a fantastic buddy cop comedy where Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones team up to go and beat the shit out of some aliens, and I would highly recommend it. Men in Black 2 goes into the disturbing but not good category. It's disturbing because it's like a horrifying parody of the previous movie. Its final ending scene is so cool, super awesome, like the after credit scene. Excuse me. That's really great, but the rest of this movie is not worth watching. Also, you remember that shitty fucking pug who was in the first movie for 5 seconds? He's a main character in this one. Don't watch it. It's not worth it. Men in Black 3 is good but not disturbing. It is substantially better than Men in Black 2. I can't remember his name. The man who is Thanos. The Than who is Manos. Manos, the Hands of Fate. Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin plays a wonderful young Tommy Lee Jones. These people have fantastic, circular motorcycles that they ride around in. The story is better, the aliens are better, everything is better. Watch this one. Just go straight from Men in Black 1 to Men in Black 3. Avoid the second. I haven't seen Men in Black 4. I like Chris Hemsworth. I don't know what else to say about it. Minions goes into the Shadow Realm. It made everything worse. Mom and Dad is disturbing but good. You want to see another movie where Nicolas Cage is actually acting? This is a good one. This is by the weird people who made the Crank films. It's about a pig fucking virus, and it makes... is it a pig fucking? Whatever. Anyway, it makes parents want to kill their children. So you get to see a bit of Nicolas Cage being a nice, innocuous dad, and then the virus kicks in and he is 100% down to slaughter those kids. And you get a wonderful chase scene, which is most of the movie, and it's badass. I highly recommend it. But it's all about like the metaphorical thing of parents wanting to live through their children, or being disappointed that their children are taking care of over their wives, or being disappointed that they weren't able to achieve what they wanted to. There's a lot of heavy stuff in it, but in general it's a fun action thriller with some comedy thrown in. I would recommend it. Mr. Magoo goes into the good but not disturbing category. It is Leslie Nielsen as a man who is borderline blind, walking into situations literally and figuratively, and somehow not getting horribly murdered. The amount of stuff that he gets away with in this movie is criminal, but it's really funny. I'd recommend it. Mystery Men. Mystery Men is about shitty superheroes. It goes in the not disturbing but good category. It is another one of those Ben Stiller movies. You know what I mean. I got a Ben Stiller fetish. So all the people have like weird powers that don't really work. Like there's a fat kid who can turn invisible, but he can only turn invisible when no one's looking. And Ben Stiller plays Mr. Furious, whose power is he just gets really angry. And I have never related so much more to a character in my whole life. I love it. Nanny Mcphee goes into the disturbing but not good category. Have you ever wanted to see a really preachy, bitchy, gross, horrible version of Mary Poppins who's like, hey, kids, if you're a little shit, horrible, grotesque things will happen to you? That is Nanny Mcphee. I watched both of these, Nanny Mcphee Returns, and I would not recommend either of them. The whole idea is that you start with this fairy godmother who's like a complete total bitch, and then she becomes nicer as the kids become nicer. But when she's finally nice, she leaves to help another people by being passive-aggressive toward them. Not worth it. Don't do it. Not worth it. Okay, hot take. Disturbing but not good. What? That went somewhere. Fuck. Okay, disturbing but not good goes The Nightmare Before Christmas. I am fully aware this is a classic. I don't like Tim Burton. This is the same I don't like Tim Burton as before. This kind of thing fucked me up when I was younger. I didn't like the idea of Santa getting kidnapped and potentially tortured by a large bag of bugs. I really hated the imagery in it, all of the like decapitation and horror shit. And I like Halloween. I think that it's very fun. I just think that there's way too much disturbing stuff for a tiny baby man. And I'd probably enjoy it more if I watched it now, but I watched this movie several times over the years, and I have never enjoyed it any more than that first initial watch. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, like candy corn that's partially melted when you lick it off the floor. You don't want to fucking lick that shit off the floor. What the fuck are you doing? What's wrong with you? Okay, The Nutty Professor. The Nutty Professor. Not disturbing, but good. You remember how I talked about Flubber, how you have a weird professor who does weird professor things. The Nutty Professor is about Eddie Murphy, and he is obscenely large. He's probably like 5 to 600 pounds. I don't know how he can move. I don't think he'd be able to move in reality. But if he drinks a specialty potion, he becomes thin. He becomes regular Eddie Murphy, and regular Eddie Murphy is hot to everybody involved. So the problem is regular Eddie Murphy also has a different personality that starts kind of taking over his body. So he's got to handle that shit. But eventually it turns into a regular love comedy, and everything gets sweet from there. The Nutty Professor 2. Disturbing but good. You remember everything I just said about the Nutty Professor? Do that exact same formula again, but now Eddie Murphy plays over half the main characters in this movie. He is his own mother, his own father, his own brother, his own grandfather, a fat version of himself, a thin version of himself, the dog, the plants, the wall. You got to watch this movie. Everything just starts melting and turning into Eddie Murphy. The more you watch it, the more Eddie Murphy just starts taking over everything in his vicinity like an amoeba. It's amazing. Meet the Parents. Disturbing but not good. This is another one from my Ben Stiller time. Meet the Parents, the whole premise is that Ben Stiller falls in love with this woman, but the father is like an ex-CIA director, and he's a huge dick, and he starts trying to psychoanalyze and fuck with this guy until he leaves. Ben Stiller's name is Gaylord Fokker, and they make that a long recurring joke, and I honestly just found that tasteless and pathetic. There are two more movies in this series called Meet the Fockers and Little Fockers, and I didn't watch either of them because I was so disgusted by Meet the Parents. Maybe they're good. I have no idea. I couldn't be bothered to watch it. Paul Mall, Mart Cop. This goes... Paul Bard Mart Cop. Paul Bard Cop. Shadow Realm. Paul. I fucking despise Paul. I fucking despise Paul. Paul goes into the Shadow Realm too. Paul tricked me because I love movies with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. They're always really fantastically well done. But Paul is a horrible, shitty Seth Rogen movie that just happens to have Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in it. It's cynical and disgusting and depressing and horrible. Like, you have this girl who's a complete bitch, and then she takes this drug which makes her, like, see the whole universe, and she just becomes a different kind of a complete bitch. And the whole movie is like that. It's like a fucking terrible stoner comedy. Bottom of the barrel shit. Don't bother with it. Pee-wee's Big Adventure goes into the disturbing and good category. It's disturbing for one particular scene in which Large Marge, a ghost, scares the bejesus out of me and many other children. The rest of it is Pee-wee Herman. Have you noticed that Pee-wee Herman and Fred are the same character? I have. Anyway, Pee-wee Herman goes on a big adventure. I don't remember why. He goes to find the Alamo or something, but it was fun when I watched it. Wow, I need to rewatch this movie. Anyway, so Pee-wee Herman was blacklisted from the industry by jerking off in a porn theater. I'm like, who cares? If you're going to jerk off, a porn theater is probably like the least problematic place. It's not like you start jerking off the library or something. Anyway, support Pee-wee Herman. The Pink Panther, the original Pink Panther, is not disturbing, but it is very good. I really enjoyed this movie. This is another bumbling spy movie, and it's the one that did it first. Maybe? I think it did it first, but it did it. It gets exponentially more and more complicated from there, and Inspector Clouseau is hilarious. There are about 15 Pink Panther movies. This is the best one. The Pink Panther by Leslie Nielsen. Wait, not Leslie Nielsen. Who the hell is this guy? Okay, whatever. I think it's Steve Martin. The Pink Panther remake is not good. Don't watch it. They didn't understand the source material, even though they had, like... It's not that hard to make a good heist movie. What the hell is this? I don't know what that is. This goes into the what the fuck is this category. Oh. As long as we're in the what the fuck is this category, let's talk about Pom Poko. So, Studio Ghibli is known for having two wonderful people. Wonderful person number one is Hayao Miyazaki, who has some of the best, most thoughtful, fantastic films of all different kinds of genres out there. Science fiction, fantasy, coming of age, you name it. And then there's Isao Takahata. Isao Takahata made Grave with the Fireflies, which is a movie you watch when you want to die. And it's all about the horrors of war from the perspective of children. So naturally, somebody up in Japan went, Isao Takahata, we can't make shit like this. Make something family-friendly. So he made Pom Poko. Pom Poko is a wonderful little environmentalist film about a bunch of tanuki, which are a real animal, yes they goddamn are, raccoon dogs, who can transform into things, and they try and scare people off their land, like Beetlejuice. The issue is this. They have exponential expansive testicles, which are on display in the movie all the time. And they can also the movie, but that's the main thing that stuck out to me, so it goes in the what the fuck is this category. The Princess Diaries is not disturbing, but it's really good. I watched this growing up, and it is Anne Hathaway learning that she's a princess with the wonderful, wonderful Julie Andrews as the queen, helping her learn how to do princess things, and more importantly, find herself and be a good person and embrace who she is, because it's probably the best coming-of-age story around. I would highly recommend it. The Princess Diaries 2 is also really good, but I don't remember it as much. I don't know if it's on this list. Rat Race. Rat Race, not good or disturbing. It's basically about a whole bunch of people who get together because if they travel across America as fast as possible, they can win a big friggin' cash prize. The best part of the movie is that there's a family and the little daughter desperately wants to go to the Barbie Museum. But the museum that they end up going to is actually Klaus Barbie, who was one of the horrible Holocaust people. So they have Hitler's car on display there, and they steal Hitler's car, and that's the highlight of the movie. I'm sorry, I've spoiled it. You don't have to watch this movie now. The rest of it isn't worth it. Starsky and Hutch. Starsky and Hutch goes in disturbing but not good, and I'll tell you why. I like Ben Stiller. I like Owen Wilson. Like I've said a few times, I had made it my mission as a 14-year-old boy to watch every single movie featuring Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. When I saw buddy cop comedy starring Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, co-starring Snoop Dogg as a pimp called Huggy Bear, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be the most amazing thing I have ever seen. And then I got to see a gay sex scene between Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. And it was really bad. And then I got to see people's dragon fan art of Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson having sex in this movie, and it was really bad. And I saw this when I was 14, so don't watch this movie. Actually, if you want to see Snoop Dogg as a great pimp who's just amazing, watch this movie, but just be warned. Sausage Party. Sausage Party goes into the Shadow Realm. I hate Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen is a horrible, lowest common denominator human being. He went, hey, what if we had Toy Story and Food Fight, but we made sex puns every 5 seconds and all of the characters are phallic and grotesque and horrible? And that's Sausage Party. It's not worth watching. Oh, man. So we have come up to the single worst movie on this list that I can think of for now. And it goes into the disturbing but not good category, and it is Dinner for Schmucks. Where do I even start? Dinner for Schmucks, content warning for multiple reasons. Dinner for Schmucks is about a group of rich people, and their idea of a good time is to find the weirdest person they possibly can, usually people who are neurodivergent or have mental illnesses, and display them on parade like some kind of ornament. And they compete over that. Whoever has the weirdest person gets the most money. And Paul Rudd goes and finds Steve Carell. And Steve Carell is a sweet man who very clearly has like severe Asperger's. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just somewhere on the spectrum. But the point is, he's completely coded as someone on the autism spectrum, as compared to these other people who are just like horrible caricatures of human beings. Every single one of them is completely grotesque and disgusting in another way. And the entire thing is just laughing at these people for their suffering. And it's just really bad. And at the same time, you have like the rival weirdo character. And the rival weirdo character is like a Zoolander type parody of like the wealthy art elite establishment kind of guys, and when he's introduced, he goes on a long monologue about fisting a zebra's vagina, and that is not something I want in my life. So don't watch Dinner for Schmucks. The reason I watched this movie, I had a 3-hour flight home from New York, and it was the only movie that I could watch. Wait, no, how long was that flight? Okay, let's go to something vastly better. Shanghai Noon. Shanghai Noon. Not disturbing, but good. It's the best Western I've ever seen. It's another Owen Wilson movie. This is why I watched Owen Wilson movies, because Owen Wilson is a great actor. He goes, wow, but he can actually fucking be hilarious. So Shanghai Noon is a Western about Jackie Chan, who is a martial arts badass, coming into the West, which is something that could have like historically happened, and beating the shit out of people. And he teams up with Owen Wilson to do that. And it's great. It's really well done. Tight story, tight everything. Check it out. I'm putting Shark Tale in the haven't seen because I shut it off after half an hour, just for the reason of I could not get over that horrible, horrible animation, and Will Smith being a jive-talking happy fish. There's only so much of that I can handle. Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is a great zombie flick about Simon Pegg and Nick Frost teaming up to beat the living crap out of zombies. It goes in the disturbing and good category because there's a bunch of gore in it, and some of that gore I still cannot watch. There is a scene where a person gets disemboweled by zombies in excruciating detail, and that is not something that I can handle. But it's a great film. Aside from that, check it out. Oh boy, we have come to the Shrek area, and we gotta say, it's not over till it's ogre. So, the first Shrek goes into the not disturbing but good category. It's a pretty solid fantasy film. It's really funny. Forget that the character looks like this, and you'll have a great time. Shrek 2 goes into the disturbing but good category. It is better. No, it's as good as Shrek the First, but there is a bunch of disturbing scenes in it. You get a lot of moral manipulation. You get the fairy godmother being the worst person in the history of the planet. You get to see a long, extended death sequence of a Leviathan cookie portion monster. Not entirely a fun time, but I would recommend it. And now, finally, we have to get to Shrek the Third, which is disturbing but not good. If you want to see the worst dream sequence ever put on film, with many horrifying, shrieking ogre children that are worse than the baby from Eraserhead, then watch this movie. Otherwise, don't watch this movie. God damn. I'm fully aware that there are like 7 Shrek films, but I couldn't be bothered to watch any of them other than this, so just put everything else in the haven't seen category, please. I can only handle so much. Also, Antonio Banderas' Puss in Boots is hot. So sue me. It's true. Spider Riders is the best anime ever created. It is the not disturbing but good. It is about people who ride spiders. Mechanized spiders. Let's bring this back, people. Okay, we're in the Spy Kids area. So Spy Kids is what happens when you teach a bunch of children how to live like Machete, and their dad is Antonio Banderas, and I don't remember who their mom is, but they're all spies. Everyone spies. Everyone spies. Spy Kids 1 goes into... actually is going to go into disturbing but good, because there's a couple of scenes that are disturbing in it. Mainly because the adults in there get turned into horrific, grotesque flesh monsters. You also get to see these robotic people with thumbs for heads, which kind of cropped up in my freak out mode for a while. I didn't like it. While we're at it, we go to disturbing but not good for Spy Kids 2 because it has some of the worst CGI I've ever seen. If you want to see really, really shitty dinosaurs getting wiggled and jiggled all around everywhere, then this is the movie for you, but I wouldn't recommend ever watching it. And Spy Kids 3D is going to be in not disturbing but good. It is better than 2, but it's not as good as 1. It's about the kids go into what they thought the internet was, what everybody thought the internet was in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I'd recommend giving it a watch. Elijah Wood comes in, and he's there for 5 seconds before getting brutally killed by electricity. That is something you should check out. I think Sylvester Stallone is in this movie? I don't remember. Anyone could be in this movie. So, for some reason, this movie is called Delivery Man, but it should actually be called Starbuck, because it is a remake of Starbuck. And it goes into the not disturbing but good section, because it is about Vince Vaughn, and he plays a man who fathered like 500 fucking children on the sperm bank, because he's a badass. And then he tries to slowly insert himself into the lives of those children in really sweet, wholesome ways, just kind of showing up, being a good person. You know that Netflix show You, where you have this creepy-ass stalker serial killer dude who inserts himself into people's lives? That's completely ripped off from this movie and its predecessor. Watch this instead. It's a feel-good watch. It's just better on all counts. Check this shit out. We are in the Stuart Little category. Let's check out some Little Stuarts. So Stuart Little goes into the disturbing but good category. Yeah, it does. Just think about it. The meme that's floating around is, why did people choose Stuart Little when they had all these poor little orphan children that they could have chosen instead? Who the fuck is gonna adopt the mouse? Who the fuck is gonna adopt the mouse? Would you adopt the mouse? I'd adopt the mouse. But I'm just saying, those parents are fucking heroic. That mouse would have died if it wasn't for them. But it's going in the disturbing category because there is a scene near the beginning and you get to see him getting spun all around and nearly drowning in excruciating detail, and that's not something I want in my life. I'd recommend it otherwise. It's also a New York movie, and I'm a New Yorker, so let's do this shit. Haven't seen Stuart Little 2, just never got around to it.
Alexander, I'll see you later.
Bye, Dad.
I'm off to the locksmith.
Okay, thank you for... Anyway, so Sucker Punch by Man. Who is Man? Sucker Punch goes into the not good or disturbing category. Sucker Punch had a wonderful concept. Inception, but with hot chicks who are badass. That is the best thing you could have possibly made, Zack Snyder. But they do it in the worst possible way. There's no character development, there's no story, and the entire movie takes place while the main character is getting lobotomized. So nothing you saw mattered. The main character is suffering a horrible fate at the end of it. It's just bad. Really bad. I hate any kind of thing where, like, not necessarily a bad ending, but just like the futility of it all. And futility is not something you want to watch in an awesome action movie about hot chicks. What the hell, Zach? Super Mario Brothers goes to the top of not disturbing but good. It's a fucking great movie. The reason why I'm going to stand by and stand this movie so much is that it's a cyberpunk script that got rerouted and turned into being Mario. It actually has very little to do with Mario. The Mario Brothers go to a alternate universe, which is all creepy and metallic and Blade Runner-esque. I'm going to say it. I like Super Mario Brothers better than Blade Runner. This movie is really fun and really cool, and there's a lot of crazy shit that happens in it, and there's like a slide chase scene through industrial pipes. It's good. And it's gonna be a hell of a lot better than anything Chris Pratt makes in an animated film. Support this movie instead. I don't care if it doesn't have real Italians in it. It's good. Well, yes, we should hire real Italians, of course, but this movie is great for what it is. Teeth goes into the disturbing but not good category. Teeth is a movie about a girl, and she has teeth growing out of her vagina, and she uses this to kill people who try to rape her. And I actually love this concept. This is kind of similar to Hard Candy, but it does shock horror too much. If it was done as more of a comedy and less of a horror, it could be hilarious, but the execution just isn't all that up to snuff. Watch this if you want to. Watch this with friends. Don't watch this by yourself. Blues Brothers, incredibly solid comedy. If you want to see the best road trip chase scene movie thing ever before John Belushi tragically died, go watch it. This is also before Dan Aykroyd lost his mind and started making movies about like nothing but trouble, where he has a gigantic dick for a nose, or making Crystal Skull vodka and expecting people to pay $50 for it. This is a movie where everyone involved really cared about making something good and funny. It also has Aretha Franklin and a bunch of other different great R&B singers in it. I would recommend it for that alone. The Country Bears goes into the disturbing but not good category, and I will tell you all about it. There was a brief period in which Disney and all the other companies went, hey, let's have an animated movie and have the main characters sing. And the animated characters are like, you get a couple of animated characters, they're animals, but everything else is totally live action. There was a recent couple of ones, like I think they were called Hop, where the Easter Bunny wants to come and be a drummer, and he goes through the UK with his hapless human sidekick. It's pathetic. The Country Bears is a single worst example of this I have ever watched. I don't even remember why I watched this. I remember why I watched this. So when I was a very small child person, my parents left me alone at IKEA. And in IKEA, if you get lost, you never come out, so they leave you in the area which has like a ball pit and a movie theater. And I was there for like 2 hours, and I watched this movie, and I despised it, and I despise it to this day. Do not watch it. The Mask is not good, but sorry, it's good, but not disturbing. It's about Jim Carrey putting on a mask. His personality radically changes, and everything improves from him. It's also Cameron Diaz's best performance. Son of the Mask is disturbing and not good. It is The Mask, the same formula, but with thoroughly unlikable people and terrible CGI and fart jokes and poop jokes and vomit jokes and any bodily function you can possibly imagine, and adults acting like infants, and it's bad. It deserves its low score. I haven't seen the Proud Family movie. What am I doing with my life? The Smurfs goes into the disturbing but not good category. Do I need to elaborate? Neighborhood Watch. So Neighborhood Watch, I'm actually very disappointed in. It's going to go in the not good or disturbing category. I had such high hopes for this movie. It had Ben Stiller. It had Richard Ayoade, who went and made Gareth Marenghi's Dark Place, which if you aren't watching it, you should be watching it right now. It's great horror comedy. It had Vince Vaughn, who's okay sometimes. It had Jonah Hill, who's okay sometimes. And it's about a neighborhood watch of people getting together to fight aliens, and that is badass. But the execution was terrible. It's like they didn't care when they were writing or acting or producing any of it. They had this fantastic concept, and then they didn't do anything with it. They also had to change it from Neighborhood Watch to The Watch to be more generic. It's just pathetic. This thing had Skrillex in the trailer, and it worked. It could have been so much better. Tower Heist. Oh, man. Not good or disturbing. Tower Heist is another very disappointing Ben Stiller movie. Alan Alda is a comedian that you may remember if you were an old person man, or an old person woman, or an old person person. I don't discriminate. But he was Hawkeye Pierce in MASH, and he is a very talented actor and comedian. They have him playing, like, a stereotypical 1% villain here. The plot of Tower Heist is that Ben Stiller fucks up and trusts Alan Alda with a lot of people's money. Alan Alda gambles away that money somehow through financial means. So they break into his building to try and pay all the people back that Ben Stiller fucked over. But it's terribly, terribly acted. It's terribly written. Alan Alda gives an embarrassing performance, and it's like, man, this poor old guy who's made so much wonderful content over the years. Now he has to be in shit like this, saying lines like that just so that he can make a paycheck to keep himself afloat. Fuck, man, we gotta cast our older actors in things that are benefiting on them. Come on. The Truman Show. It's disturbing, and it's good. It's about Jim Carrey, and his life is a lie. And the reason why his life is a lie is because everybody is secretly filming his life. And there's a lot of existentially horrifying shit. Surprisingly enough, this is not a Charlie Kaufman film. I thought it was when I first watched it, but it's actually a really good feel-good experience. It's a great, uplifting, wonderful story. It could have gone so many bad ways, but it went in the best possible way, and if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. It will make your life just a little better. Valiant goes into the disturbing but not good category. My god, this movie was disturbing. I think I watched this one in theaters. I don't remember why. But this movie is about carrier pigeons, and they're carrying messages back and forth across the front lines. So technically it's a war film. But the main and worst recurring theme of the movie is that they have to swallow the messages and then throw them up. And you get to see a lot of vomit in excruciating detail in this movie. And they do it as like a heroic thing. There's themes of self-sacrifice and all the terrible military shit. It's just really bad. Ugh. This makes me viscerally disgusted just remembering these scenes, honestly. I don't want to think about this. Thankfully, this movie has been forgotten about. When I asked my friends about it, they were like, Alex. Oh, oops. They were like, Coda. Alex. Whatever. You know my names. They were like, did you hallucinate this movie? But no, I didn't hallucinate this movie. This was real. Vampires suck. Good, but not disturbing area. This is a parody of Twilight. It's done by the people who made Scary Movie, Epic Movie, etc. And it's the only one I've seen that I've actually enjoyed. Their parody and comedy are pretty spot on in this film, even though it does drag in some places. I would recommend giving it a watch, especially nowadays when we're finally recovering from our vampire high and Robin Pattinson is allowed to actually act in movies. Oh boy. When I first watched this movie, I was there with a friend of mine, and it was literally just us and one other person in the theater. There was a theater of like 100 seats and only 3 people there to watch vampires suck on opening night. Like, what the hell? Did it just not have any marketing? I don't understand it. Anyway, it's worth it. Vanilla Ice, Cool as Ice goes in the what the fuck is this category. The reason why this is on this list is because when I was searching up these movies, trying to remember every single comedy or disturbing film that I had watched in the last while, Google recommended this movie to me almost every time. So it's going to be in the haven't seen and what the fuck is this category. I guess I'm going to have to see it. I'm going to have to watch a obnoxious white man rap. I'd rather watch an Ice Cube comedy. Why is it doing this to me? The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is a not disturbing but good film with Ben Stiller. I also saw this one in the theaters, and it's about the guy who works for Life magazine, and he has this wonderful, fantastic inner life. He imagines himself going and doing all these amazing, cool, Tintin-esque things, but he never actually does them. He's just like the copy guy. But eventually he goes after the like reckless, daring photographer for Life magazine and ends up doing all this crazy, amazing shit in real life and decides to keep doing it because it's badass and to enjoy life and appreciate it. And it is really good, really well done. It seems like something that would be like a stereotypical preachy Hallmark movie kind of thing, but the execution is wonderful and it's very sweet. I'd recommend it. Oh, God. Marwin. Marwin is embarrassing. It's another... I don't understand what it is with Steve Carell deciding to portray himself as offensive portrayals of neurodivergent people who are on the autism spectrum or who have some kind of other mental or psychological issue. This is not as bad as Dinner for Schmucks, but it's pretty bad. It's about this guy who's on the spectrum and he gets beaten up and he gets saved by a bunch of girls, and he constructs this elaborate fantasy reality with models of imagining these girls as superheroes, or, well, you know, not like superheroes, but heroes after they rescued him. They're trying to make it like a big feel-good thing, but it's really gross and unpleasant and depressing and shitty and exploitative, and I would not recommend this to anyone. What We Do in the Shadows is disturbing and good. You're wondering why I would put this in the disturbing section, and the reason is the movie itself is not too disturbing. There's a couple of gore scenes in it, but I recently watched this with my mom, and the scene, it kept cutting back to these pictures, medieval illustrations of what people thought vampires and other horrible creatures were. And those are genuinely really disturbing, like borderline Marquis de Sade level stuff. And they have like a picture of a vampire eating a baby. I don't like that shit, man. So it's going into disturbing. You actually don't want to show this to your kids. Show this to your parents. Show this to yourself. Taika Waititi's good. I like him. Wild Wild West is disturbing and not good. I'll tell you why it's disturbing. It's disturbing because you get to see Kevin Kline in drag. It's disturbing because you get to see Will Smith phoning in his acting. It's disturbing because you get to see a badass robot metal spider and they do jack shit with it. It's disturbing because the plot is garbage. It's not disturbing. Wild Wild West. Wild Wild West. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Imagination Factory Wankalum. I need help. Willy Wonka goes into the disturbing and good category. This had some scenes that just fucked me up when I was younger. Multiple scenes. And I realized that the kids are all okay at the end, and they're all okay at the end in the book, but there's a bunch of stuff that just gets to you. Like the kid who falls into the river of chocolate and he gets sucked up into this compression machine and he's going to be boiled alive, literally boiled alive, in a few minutes. Or the boat ride where everything turns. I love surrealist nightmares, but this is not up my alley. And then you get the girl who like falls into the squirrel hole and you think that she's gonna get shredded up and dissected, or the girl who like contributes to everyone's blooberification inflation fetish. I don't like that. That's not my kink. Get that out of my movie. You don't want this. But other than that, Willy Wonka is like a classic film or something with Gene Wilder or something. Everybody really likes this movie. I had a mixed experience with it. I love parts of it. I despise other parts of it. So it's gonna have to go into the disturbing but good. God, this is painful. The World's End. Thank God, something better. It's going into the disturbing but good category. This is a zombie movie with robot aliens, is the best way I could describe it. So you remember Shaun of the Dead? They just made Shaun of the Dead again, but the story is actually even better. So, you know, when you were a kid, you might have had the kid who was like the leader of your group of friends. He was just a badass. He would like bring you around and take you to do the coolest shit. I had one of those growing up. I think most people had one of those growing up. The World's End stars that character, but when he grew up, he became kind of washed up and pathetic, and he ended up having to go into rehab. And the whole story is about his journey of processing that and moving on with his life and being a better person. And he gets to become like a total badass in the end, like he was before. And it's really sweet and heartfelt and well done. The reason I'm putting it in disturbing is because it has a couple of gore scenes. Not the worst gore ever. Like, you get to see a lot of decapitation and shit, but it's not too gory because it's just like blue gunk inside of fake heads. Like, you get to see Martin Freeman get his head smashed in, if that's something you want to see. I'd recommend The World's End. I'd recommend The World's End. You Don't Mess with the Zohan is not disturbing. Oh, you know what? It is disturbing. It's disturbing and good. I'll tell you why it's disturbing. So, You Don't Mess with the Zohan is based on the real story of an Israeli Special Forces agent who came over to America because he wanted to become a hairstylist. Adam Sandler went and met the actual person who did that and talked to him for a long time to get his performance right. So this is like a movie where Adam Sandler actually cares about acting, and it's not amazing because it's an Adam Sandler comedy, but it's infinitely better than something like Jack and Jill. It's really funny. Why is it disturbing? Because he sleeps with lots of grotesque people. He just sleeps with everyone. You get to see him sleeping with all these old grandmas. You get to see him sleeping with these repulsive women. I wouldn't be surprised. I think they might have had some guys in there too. If you want to see a great comedy about Adam Sandler being a badass, being a hairstylist, and fucking everyone he meets, watch this movie. It's worth a watch. Zoolander. Zoolander goes into the not disturbing but good category. This is the best Ben Stiller comedy to end all Ben Stiller comedies. You get to see Ben Stiller being a male model and just the ridiculousness of high society and male models and everything in that area. Owen Wilson is also in it. It's great. It's hilarious. I highly recommend it. It's the best performances from all these different actors. I don't want to spoil too much about it because if you haven't seen it, go watch it and come right back to me. And now, Zoolander, which I'm going to call Zoolander, it's actually Zoolander number 2, goes in the not disturbing but good category. I'm on the fence putting this between disturbing but good, not disturbing but good, and not disturbing but not good, because it's not as good as the original, but it's almost as good as the original. The problem with it is that it's full of cameos. So at the beginning of this movie, you get to see Justin Bieber get shot by a machine gun for like 20 minutes, and it's awesome. But then you get to see Sting as like a peripheral character. There are all these cameos from all these different famous people. Neil deGrasse Tyson keeps coming up periodically, and this is before Neil deGrasse Tyson became a huge douchebag. This is when he was Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know what I mean? But it's good, but it gets jarring at times. It also has Benedict Cumberbatch as the most amazing character I've ever seen in a film, besides Ruby Rod from The Fifth Element. Yeah, so it goes here. Anyway, thank you guys. I love you all. I hope that this has been interesting, informative. I hope you get some good movies to watch and or never watch again. This took some of my brain capacity, but it's all right. I'm sure I'll get rejuvenated soon enough. I love you all. I am going to head on out and watch Vanilla Ice. Have a great night. See you in a bit.